Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. I cannot be the only one that think that the same people that were angry at Faye being one of the protagonists in God of War, the game, are the same people that are angry at Milly for playing Supergirl. Perhaps they're not the exact same people, but they're probably like cousins or BFFs sitting around getting angry at another female protagonist that is not presenting herself as super sexy or presenting herself in the way that they think she should so that they can enjoy watching her. It just seems to me like those are the same groups of people, because the magnitude of anger and disappointment that people have expressed at the fact that Milly has taken this role and the way that she was presented in the movie, the director went out of his way to present her in a grunge fashion instead of, a clean-cut girl next door superhero. When he talked about it, he said it himself. Craig Gillespie, he said that he wanted the Supergirl to be unconventional, and he was happy at the idea of having an unconventional Supergirl. And he said he specifically wanted the superhero that is flawed and specifically not sexualized. They did not do that at all, and does not care about a lot of the frivolous things that your typical average girly girl character would care about. So that's what he was going for. That is what he achieved when he decided to cast Milly. Now, before we even get into all of that, let me start by saying that this movie has been so controversial for so many different reasons. I have seen at least 5 reviews of Supergirl. They all have criticisms of the movie, right? But all of the opinions are completely different. It's almost as if you cannot find 2 people that can quite agree on why the movie performed so poorly. And the movie did perform very poorly. There's a lot of numbers being thrown around, but one that I've seen is that the movie debuted with just $38 million domestically and around 68 million worldwide. Meanwhile, the budget is reported to be $170 million. So this makes it a very, very weak opening, and second week it's going to perform even worse than the first week. The film already opened below the pre-release expectations. It performed much more poorly in comparison to Toy Story 5, and a lot of people are just saying that they're disappointed in the movie, and they're comparing it to Flash, and a lot of the things they're saying is not positive. It's so difficult to pinpoint what exactly happened here. A lot of people have theories that I feel like are valid, but one thing you cannot say is that this is not a good director. Craig is a very good director. I know he directed Cruella and I, Tonya. So it's not the director per se. Perhaps it is the direction he decided to take this. Perhaps it's other things outside of the movie itself. Perhaps some other things that were mentioned during the press, when they were doing press, because Milly did say some things that a lot of people did not like. They're calling her woke, and I feel like all of these things came together to cause this movie not to perform really well. But here's a few things that people said that I think are valid as to why this movie performed so poorly. First is, a lot of people are saying that nobody asked for this movie. There's a lot of people that are excited that this movie was released and they're excited to see the movie. So the idea that nobody asked for this movie is, I mean, you can argue either way with this, because from the perspective of someone that does not closely follow the story and was not looking forward to this movie, I guess you can say yes, nobody asked for this movie. But people don't always actively ask for a movie in order for it to do really well. And people are also saying that the movie introduced characters that no one has heard of, and I guess people are not as open-minded towards characters that they don't know, and so they're not receiving a lot of these characters well. There's a lot of comparison between Supergirl and Wonder Woman and 2017's Wonder Woman, and a lot of people are saying that Wonder Woman may be the reason why Supergirl is not being taken seriously, because in comparison to other female superheroes, Wonder Woman comes across as more thought out and stronger and just more interesting and has a better story and execution. Now, a lot of people do not like the ending of Wonder Woman, 2017's Wonder Woman, but overall, in comparison to the other superheroes, Supergirl is said to come across as weak. They're also saying that Supergirl is not a main character, that she does not have the kind of main character energy that, like, in comparison to other superheroes, and because of that, she does not draw a lot of attention. It's no doubt that Supergirl is a side character and they're trying to make this movie her own story and, you know, put her out there, but I don't know, I don't think that she should be compared to Wonder Woman, because why are we comparing them? You know what I mean? Why are we comparing them? And why are we comparing her to Wonder Woman specifically? Their stories are very different. Their execution is different. The way they're being portrayed is very different. Wonder Woman barely has clothes on, okay, that particular version. I mean, it wasn't as if she was sexualized. Wonder Woman was not sexualized per se, but it was kind of like borderline, if you ask me. Supergirl went all the way to the other side. Like, she was grunge. She was not about that at all. So I don't know, I think it's because they're both female superheroes, that's why people are comparing them, but I don't think they should be compared. Here's another thing that I think holds a lot of weight, okay? A lot of people are comparing Milly to Rachel Zegler, specifically to Rachel Zegler around the release of Snow White, because they're saying, people are saying that both of the characters are coming across as being too woke, and that is bad for the movies. Milly did say, when she was interviewed, she said that she has many queer friends and she likes the fact that this character does not live inside the binary of what people think a woman should be, and because of that, that makes her character new. So she said that when she talked about her character in Supergirl. It's not surprising that the fact that Milly talked about her character and the movie not being focused on males and the typical behaviors that people expect a woman should be, the fact that she mentioned that at all was such an incendiary thing to a lot of people, because this is such a sensitive and polarizing topic for a lot of people. Here's the thing about mentioning the fact that the movie was not male focused or male centered. Once she did that, it came across as a "this movie is not for you men" messaging. That is how they're taking it, and that tends to push people's buttons. And not a lot of people like to have that conversation. Once you mention that, people automatically label you as woke, and then they run with it, and they begin to say all sorts of other negative things and nitpick at the female character, the way that she looks. They were even comparing her to another actor, a male actor, and they did that in a disparaging way. And so I think that her saying that her character does not subscribe to the binary idea of a woman versus man, and living her life in a way that people consider traditional. Once you said that, a lot of people took that as a "this is not for men" movie, even though that is absolutely not what she said. The reason why I think that stating this at all is incendiary is because of how polarizing a topic this is, and people have very strong beliefs about it, and a lot of people will not budge on their own beliefs. If that specifically is not the message of a project, then I think actors should try as much as possible to keep that polarizing topic out of the conversation when they're doing the press runs for their projects. Because what does that accomplish? When people watch the movie, they can see that it's not male focused. It's not written from the perspective of what a man thinks a woman should look and act like in order for them to consider the woman likable or pleasant or whatever. So people can see that when they watch the movie. It is not necessary to talk about this in interviews. Not that I'm saying people shouldn't talk about these topics. These topics are important for people to talk about, but does it have to be when you're doing a press run for a movie that is not about the subject? Especially if you know that it's going to upset a lot of people, and a lot of potential viewers are going to be turned away from your project. If the movie is not about that topic, then I don't think it should be brought up at all, as well as other political, well, it can be as less political as possible when the actors do their press for these projects that they are parts of, just because you don't want to turn people away. And I also think that there is a difference between making a movie that moves things in a different direction, especially with the way they presented her, and with Supergirl being a protagonist and her having her own experiences in life and conquering them and all of that. So I think there's a difference between going in that direction versus going in the direction of "this is not for you." That phrase, that's when you communicate to a particular demographic that this is not for you, it can come across as more negative and aggressive than maybe intended, and it almost steals the spotlight from the project itself, because now a lot of people are just looking to criticize this movie that is not half as bad as they are saying that it is. And I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm not speaking specifically to particular parts or scenes in the movie so that I don't ruin it for people that have not watched it. But the way people are going in on this movie, you would think it is the worst movie they have ever seen. But I think they're doing all of that because they have been turned away because of that particular messaging of "this is not for you." If you think of women in that traditional sense, this is not for you. If you're a man who thinks women should not be protagonists, or they have to be sexy and visually appeal to a man, in order for her to be valuable in society, this is not for you. It's kind of that this is not for you messaging that was attached to the movie that is turning a lot of people away. Obviously, now we're not going to put the blame on the press for this movie, because these people that are being turned away just because they don't like the way that Milly is presented, they have their own issues. So they have to take responsibility for their own mentality and the reason why they have a difficult time with a girl just focusing on living her life and not trying to appeal to the male gaze. They have their own issues with that. So I'm not trying to put all of the blame on the press and the fact that the actress Milly mentioned the sexuality of her character, her Supergirl character, and said that, you know, she's more non-binary and etc. So but you know, when you begin to use certain phrasing, a lot of people begin to shut their ears because they don't want to hear it. But I still stand by what I said earlier, that with the direction that they are taking this movie as far as how they want the woman to be presented in this non-sexual way, and where she has her own battles that she's focused on and just focused on her life and growing up and having her experiences, they can portray all of that and just not mention those trigger words that turn people away. That's basically what I'm saying. Especially since that's not what the movie is about, you know? But yeah, people that are upset about female protagonists are going to be upset. It doesn't even matter what is said in the press. Just looking at her, they get angry, just as they got angry with Faye's character from God of War. There was a lot of tantrums that they threw, and I was like, okay, this has got to be the same group of people. They just don't like to see a woman not all done up for them. And well, they will get over it, because based on what the director said, he does not seem like he is bothered that people do not like the way that he presented Milly's character in that grunge style, where she doesn't really care about those frivolous little things. Yeah, he's definitely going to feel the pain that the movie did not perform as well, but I highly doubt that they will do a complete 180. After all, for superheroes to be presented in this way is still new. It's still kind of a new thing, you know? So there's gonna be some pain that's gonna come with it until directors know how to present these movies in such a way that it does not turn viewers away. So this is all still kind of new. They're still trying to get the hang of it, and I'm sure eventually they will. And a lot of people are going to have to come to terms with the fact that all superheroes are not going to be scantily clad in underwear and short skirts, twirling around and, you know, doing the usual stuff that they see in superhero movies. So yeah, overall, I don't think this movie is half as bad as people are saying that it is. Sure, it needs work in some areas, but I mean, the way they're presenting it, the way they're criticizing it, Jesus Christ. You would think it's the worst movie they ever saw, but it's really not that bad. I think they're just upset with the fact that they think that DC had gone woke, and that's what they don't like. So they're going to criticize everything about it. Anyway, that's all I have to say on Supergirl. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a good movie. It's a nice watch, you know. It's interesting. It's a fun watch. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.